Hey folks, today we're going to have a brief discussion with my friend Josh, who just over a year ago had he attempted suicide, and so that might be a hard topic for people to hear about, but I feel that it's very important. And a lot of times we just hear about people that have lost people to mental illness that way, and I want to have a very raw, transparent discussion with Josh about his experience because I feel that it would help other people. And so, to begin with, thank you so much. This, I feel, is very generous of heart and spirit and very courageous to be vulnerable. And I want you to know that if there's anything you don't want to answer for whatever reason, you don't have to give a reason. Just say, I don't want to answer that.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for having me. I
Yes.
appreciate it.
You're so welcome.
I'm excited.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
And we're going to try to keep it to 5 questions just because, I know people don't want to sit around and listen too long. Okay, I only asked 2 things. And one is, I already mentioned, if you can't be transparent, then just say, I don't want to answer that. I think it's important to be totally truthful with people because we want to help get rid of the shame and misunderstanding around mental illness.
Yeah.
The other thing is if I'm drinking coffee, Josh, please don't make me laugh, okay?
I'll try my
Because
best.
then we might have to start over.
Okay.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. First question. Please share or tell us whatever you're comfortable telling us about your attempted suicide just over a year ago.
Yeah. Well, I had been battling with depression and negative thoughts for years and years, and I had a really bad year. It was just a lot of arguing with my significant other. I was really in a bad place mentally as far as feelings of self-worth and what I was doing as far as productive wise with my life, because that's how I get a lot of my self-worth out of is how productive I am. And then there was a personal moment that catalyzed the attempt. My wife at the time left me and took my child away. And I was alone. I felt isolated. I didn't feel like I had anyone to talk to, even though I know that to be untrue now. And it felt like the only option at the time. Yeah.
How long were those thoughts of suicide with you before the attempt, roughly? Do you remember?
So I've had suicidal ideations since I was in high school. So
Okay. And how old are you now?
27.
Okay.
I'm 27.
So maybe 10 years plus?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's safe to say.
Okay.
And they had just been getting more and more frequent and severe as I got older and separated from the military. In the military, I was had a really good stint for a while. I was surrounded by friends constantly and very active, so it was a lot better for that 4-year period. And then I got out, and in a few years, it just got worse and worse and worse.
Okay. So, thank you so
Yeah,
much for
absolutely.
that. You already shared a little bit of what led up to you attempting suicide. Not necessarily claiming a cause relationship, but these are the things that happened prior. Is there anything in your childhood or being in the military or even high school, any trauma related to those life experiences that you think might have contributed to depression? Not feeling good enough.
Yeah, well, yes and no, I think. So I'd say no just as it's hard to pinpoint and pull out exact things that make you feel certain ways. That's kind of the biggest upside of doing like CBT, kind of therapy related things, is you can find out the reasons that you feel certain ways and begin to navigate that. But I say yes to that question implicitly because where we exist just at any current time is just a complete summation of our experiences and what we've been through and what we've done. So of course my state of mind would have had to have been preceded by all of the events that made me feel the person I am. I think a big thing was that I pride myself on my accomplishments, my productivity, like I said before, how well I'm doing in my job and in my personal relationships. And so when you draw strength from things like that, it's good because it gives you strong motivations. But when you don't diversify your support, if that gets taken away, you
Yeah.
only have one pillar, it causes very catastrophic consequences.
If that one pillar
Goes away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so during that time, I kind of, I wasn't working anymore, and I was going to school instead. And I wasn't getting the same amount of fulfillment through school that I was through work. I didn't feel like I was excelling at it. So I didn't feel personally, professionally satiated. And then the relationship aspect, my best friend kind of removed herself from the situation. So all of that it's a catalyst. It's the thing that causes,
right.
So yeah, that's kind of.
Do you think there's a catalyst along with a possible predisposition?
I think it has to be that way.
I believe that
almost
also.
certainly, unless it's an extremely traumatic, cataclysmic event.
Yes. And like a PTSD
yes,
can pop out of nowhere.
An assault
Yeah.
or something.
Okay.
But for I think the vast majority of people, they have a buildup of these feelings, and they're always in the back of the mind. Unless you take a lot of specific time to address them, they're always in your mind and they build up. And then it just takes that one thing to go wrong in the way that it needs to go wrong, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
It could be a much more minor thing that goes wrong, but you're just in a worse state of mind.
And it might look minor to other people, but it's
all relative.
I have PTSD, and I actually feel like it's a switch.
Yeah,
like I'm
right.
keeping it all together, and then all of a sudden I'm not.
Well,
it's like.
It's also normal for people to have different levels of like triggers or things that can disproportionately affect their mental state.
Yes.
That are ostensibly very minor, right? So if you were in a car crash when you were younger and you have a lot of trauma from that, and then like your check engine light comes on, you might have a very different reaction to that than someone else may have.
Yeah, or you're driving with a friend and they're going a little too fast.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yep. And it's all relative, and that's what's important to remember.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yes.
That's something my therapist told me, is that you as an individual, you do not have the worst life that's ever been lived as a human, and you certainly don't have the best life that's ever been lived as a human. So if you're not either the worst luck or the best luck, there's no point to try to evaluate where you lie on the hierarchy of how bad your life has been. It just means that everything that you've experienced is relative to your experience.
Yeah.
So your worst experience is your worst experience.
Yep. Right. That's a really good point.
Yeah. And you don't want to be carrying guilt or shame because you don't feel like you've suffered as much as other people. That's a big problem I had.
I think therapy has helped me a lot with shame.
Good.
Guilt and shame.
Good.
Yeah. And the important thing I just learned with guilt is you can feel guilty, say if you're a people pleaser like me and you're laying down a boundary, you feel guilty for saying no. Well, just feel guilty and do it, continue with your life anyway. It's just a feeling, but it doesn't have to keep you, from honoring your boundaries. It's just you're just feeling something.
Yeah, that's something that I had a big difficulty when I started therapy navigating is separating the negative self-talk emotion from the actual action itself. And this is a really good analogy my therapist used. So I have a daughter. She's about 3 years old, and so the analogy is if my daughter spills milk, right, on let's say on the floor, you can make the correction and say, hey, maybe you hold the milk with 2 hands next time, don't run with it in your hand, all those things, and you teach her to clean it up. And it's inherently could be considered a negative thing that there was spilled milk, but the important thing is that she doesn't feel negatively about herself for spilling the milk.
Yeah.
She just corrects it. And it is literally, it's a little embarrassing to me to admit that I needed it kind of put out there at that base level of an analogy for me to understand, but
I think it's a really good analogy because
it's important. You have to understand it.
I experienced a lot of shame as a child from just making little mistakes.
Right.
And what it did is it eroded my self-esteem. And that really affected my mental health in the long run.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think that's like so healthy. Just, this happened.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you.
We're gonna just take care of it instead of, oh my gosh, you're bad for spilling this. Or,
right. And I think the big stigma for a lot of people to get into therapy is they hear something like that and the takeaway will be, well, that sounds like I'm not holding either a personal friend accountable, or I'm not holding myself accountable by excusing that. And it's important to understand the difference between accountability and then also not destroying your self-image for yourself.
Yeah.
And you can't go too heavy on either side.
Yeah.
Because you go too hard on the accountability side, you're going to say, I'm a big dum-dum, I'm an idiot,
You're going to beat yourself up.
Yeah. But you go too much on the nothing's my fault and whatever happens, you're not taking accountability for how you might be affecting other people.
Right, and then you're not being a grown-up.
Well, yeah, and how you ever get better.
Yeah.
You can't progress as a person.
Yes.
So finding the balance between the two of them
Yes.
is the big challenge that I've had.
Okay, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
I didn't even
Thank
think
you.
about that point,
Yeah.
and so thank you so
Uh-huh.
much. Okay, what's the next one? Can you tell us what help you got immediately after your attempted suicide in regards to, were you in the hospital? Did
Yeah.
you get on medicine? Did you start seeing a therapist? Anything you'd like to share about
Sure.
immediately, and not right now what's helping you, but right after
Yeah.
the attempt?
So after the attempt, I was pretty incapacitated, and I was taken to the hospital. The hospital I was at wasn't able to treat me properly. They didn't have the equipment they needed. So they ended up flying me to a different hospital where I stayed in for about a week. And this was actually, just about a year ago to the date, almost. And so I stayed in that hospital for about a week. And then it's kind of a tough situation. But basically, I went to a outpatient facility where I went and stayed for another about a week, where I was there 24/7, no phone. It was a lockdown facility, and that was just to get stable. And at that point, I was offered psychiatric medicine and be able to talk to a psychiatrist and then a therapist as well.
Did you take that medicine and get that help?
I did. So I did started taking the meds. I have a very not consistent relationship with psychiatric meds at this time.
Okay.
That is actually one of my resolutions going into next year, is to really buckle down and get consistent with it. I've had the problem where I get prescribed like 5 milligrams for different kinds to try and do the ramp up.
Okay. Yeah.
And,
You feel like a guinea pig a little bit?
a little bit, yeah.
Do you have a diagnosis?
So just general anxiety disorder, major depressive disorder.
Okay.
Are the two big ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, did you start seeing a therapist? Well, you got psychiatric help, you said, and then was that just a short-term thing?
Very short. It was
Okay.
while I was in the facility, and it
Okay.
was basically just group therapy sessions.
Okay.
So I personally really did not find the inpatient stay helpful.
Okay.
In fact, I thought it was very detrimental to my mental health at the time,
Okay.
and I still feel that way.
Do you want to do you have any insights why? Do you want to share? Or?
Just because technically I did go there at my own volition, but I kind of didn't have a choice to go there. So I went there kind of under duress, so I wasn't really ready to embrace it.
Okay, got it.
And then I just did not find group therapy helpful,
Mm-hmm.
and that's all that it was. And then that facility also was a rehab facility. So I was in there, it was probably mostly like 80% recovering addicts, drug addicts, alcoholics. So there wasn't really any niche specific depression, suicidality, mental health there.
Right.
So
Even though addiction is mental illness, they're not attempting suicide.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
you
different.
could say maybe in the long run they are.
And they
but-
might also be depressed, and they might also be
Yeah.
suicidal, but I felt like I needed a personalized style of care,
Yes.
and I wasn't able to receive that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
for
but
sharing that. But
since then I have seen a therapist. I see
Okay.
a therapist every 2 weeks, and it's been great
Oh, awesome! And you feel like it's a good fit for you.
so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I just talked to my friend who was a therapist, and it's like any little insight you want to share from her interview, and she said, just tell people that it's okay to, if you're not feeling a connection with your therapist, to find another one. And she feels really strongly about helping people find the right fit.
Nice.
Like, it's okay to have that preference,
Yeah.
like, and find someone who you feel you can really,
Yeah.
share with. And
Right.
and so I'm glad you found somebody
Me too.
so far.
Yeah, and that is important.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a
it
good
is.
point.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna try and wrap this up with 2 more questions.
Okay.
How often do you have suicidal thoughts currently?
Every day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Generally, it's usually the first thing I think about when I wake up,
Okay.
and it's the last thing I think about before I go to bed.
Okay.
Usually.
Okay. Thank you for being so honest.
Mhm.
Do you let's see, these are kind of there's a couple more, sorry. Do you feel that you have some protective measures or structures in your life that help you with those thoughts?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So a big thing for me is finding reasons to just get to tomorrow is kind of my thing.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously my daughter is a huge thing. I know I messed up. Just now I think about it, just to leave her alone. Think about how selfish that is. I know it shouldn't, but it makes me feel disgusted at my past self. Like, how could you be so selfish to leave her and to try to do that? So that drives me to, and it might not be the most healthy thing, but it helps me get to tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's most important right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then a big thing when I made the attempt was I felt useless. Nobody was going to be worse off without me in their lives. And so a big thing that I've done is just find out ways that I positively influence people, even in the most minute ways. That could be literally cracking a joke at the cashier and you make them smile, or
Yeah.
just the smallest things where there is. Because me, I like to think that I'm a logical thinker. So if I ever go through this serious decision-making process of wanting to take my own life again, I think about all of these things that I do to positively impact people's lives. And it's like, that is as concrete evidence that something's going to be taken away from someone else if I do something.
Yeah.
So,
And this interview is not such a little thing. That
you're right, Bridget. You kind of got me by the arm there, because now this will be out there, and if there's anyone that's still watching it, it could be beneficial to them. So there you go.
I really think so.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna ask you one more question.
Okay.
And it is there anything you want to share with others that you have learned about mental health? Anything you want to have as a takeaway? Can be about you or something general.
I have a lot of thoughts, and a lot of them are very cliche and
Doesn't
everyone knows
matter.
them, but
It's your truth, Josh.
I think the big thing, I was in Marine Corps boot camp,
Mm-hmm.
and one of my drill instructors said something to me in 2016, and I still remember to this day, and I won't curse, but he said, nobody will ever give a F about you or your life more than yourself, save maybe your mother, right?
I'd have to agree with that as a mom.
And that applies to mental health, in my opinion. A lot of times people just need a lifeboat,
Mm-hmm.
and that could be a hand on the shoulder, or a friend reaching out and texting you. But you have to understand that at the end of the day, you are in your own way of achieving any scrape of happiness. Anything that anybody else can give you has to be subject to time. The only thing that is ever going to be permanent is the way that you talk and think about yourself. And that's something that I just suck at, but I am trying to
As
get better.
you negative self-talk.
Well,
you
Yeah, but there's the accountability side, because it is kind of true, right? And
but
that's
you're learning about it.
yes.
That's all we can do
Yep.
is strive to learning.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
you know what? As bad as I am at it today, I am just 10 times better at it than I was last year. And if that's all it takes between having the thought and having the action, then that's all it really needs to be for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're making it another day.
Yep.
Right
Yeah.
on. I love
Super.
you, brother. I want to add on to what you just said.
Please.
Because for people that are listening that don't have suicide ideation, but have people in your life that struggle with that, I personally struggle with that, and the last thing I want to do when I'm feeling that way or depressed is to reach out to someone. And that's what we're told to do, is to talk to someone. That's really not where I'm at when I'm feeling down. So I just want to tell people out there that are looking for, like, how can I help people that struggle with this? Listen to them, look for signs, know that they might have trouble putting down boundaries. So if you think they have trouble saying no to you or no to something, let that be okay. Just, pay attention, and if you feel they're struggling, then reach out to them and let them know in whatever way you can or want that you are there and you love them. Because I think power of love is what's gonna help us with this.
Rock and roll.
Yeah, and big hugs. Thank you guys for listening. And thank you, Josh, so much.
Thanks
I love you, buddy.
I love you too, Bridget. Thank you.
Welcome. Peace out.
Have a good day.